But when I love and accept myself, accept that I'm a soul having a human experience, and that all these animals have souls too, and that inner guidance will naturally lead us to a healthy, harmonious relationship, where climate change isn't an issue. I mean, these animals, these keystone species, and the wolves creating this trophic cascade enable the earth and water to store carbon. Carbon is stored in seaweed, which otters keep the kelp forest healthy. Without otters, the sea urchin kill all the kelp. But the sea urchin are very plentiful, and the sea otters need to eat a lot of sea urchins. So with the otters there and their need to eat so much, like 25% of their body weight every day, that's in right relationship. It doesn't mean the otters are bad because they're eating so many sea urchins. That's the way nature evolved to be in harmony, so that we have the kelp to store the carbon, and then we have the sea urchins. I don't know all the things sea urchins do, but then, the otters eat from them. But when we decide that we're right and that they just don't matter, that we're just better, okay, then, we create we all create our own problems. Manifest destiny was one of them.
Of a movie.
Planning
In
around that kind
January
of trauma
1990
is really smart, because if a wolf has a traumatic experience with a human, they're more likely to be fearful and react. So that was smart planning. So here's the thing.
predicted.
Nobody had predicted. Oh, well, the Native Americans could have told us that. But we were busy being better than them because we were Christian and we knew, and God gave us dominion. So we don't listen to, they're just the savages. They're the savages. They live in a holographic universe. Universe is a mirror. Were they the savages?
The rivers
Look at
themselves,
all those trees.
they became less wandering.
The river on the right, beavers can work with. They need trees. River on the left, we understand why only one beaver family was left in the park. One beaver population. Look what happens when we let nature be and the animals follow their inner guidance. You can't stop a beaver from building dams. You can't stop a wolf from corralling elk. It's in them. We can't stop buffalo from wallowing on the ground and creating these kind of areas where when it rains in the spring, the water stays there, and then that's a habitat for frogs and salamanders and insects. And then there's more water, groundwater, more aquifer, so that we don't have drought. Femininity, there's Mother Earth, right? And so relationships are important to women. Femininity is important relationships, and men, based on a lot of scientific data, focus on things. That's why so many engineers are men, and so many women are nurses. And I'm holding my buffalo here from my son, who went to the Channel Islands Marine Institute in 5th grade, like my daughters did too. Their elementary school all went there. We live in Ventura, California, on the beach. And in the 1920s, they brought about 10 buffalo to Channel Islands. And now there's a Marine Institute, and that herd grew to 600, and then they moved about 500 elsewhere. But my kids have always had buffalo in their life. And my grandpa had a buffalo head in his den. Like, his whole den was filled of dead animal heads, but that's why I get so moved by it, because when we're in a right relationship with ourselves, then it opens the door to right relationships with everything else. And nature, something we all need to focus on.
Here's something nobody
the wolves
expected.
And the bears.
The wolves started affecting the bears.
Wow. I just love it. I'm glad I'm safe watching it from a video, but I love it. Who saw that coming? See, we call wolves a predator. It's in our language. When we call something a predator, it's like a savage, it needs to be killed. It's not morally right. It's not correct. It needs to be rooted out. That's our job, to make that decision, to root out the predator. The wolves
and weasels.
Corralled the coyotes.
The whole food web
stopped overeating the small mammals. So now the birds and the foxes can
store
the
carbon
earth
dioxide.
Naturally stores carbon dioxide.
Billions in terms
but
of
when the
climate
earth isn't
change
functioning properly because we killed the animals that work with the earth to make it function properly, we create our own problem. So I really ask the question, is the problem that we're burning too much fuel? Or is the problem that we've destroyed our environment so it can't store the carbon properly and process it through properly? I'm not a scientist, but I'm kind of leaning toward the second. That maybe it's not an either or, but hmm, we'll see.
last
So
longer and need
I'm gonna
fewer
leave it
repairs.
there, and
But
I'm
not
gonna link
everything
the
has been
video
perfect.
below.
The wolf reintroduction program has
Wow.
faced
14 wolves did all that? That's just wow. Wow, wow, wow.